would be like, I don't really know how to say what I'm trying to say, but that's what I said. I think he'd read it and be like, this is my shit. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Emma. So today I'm going to be basically talking about the Greek gods and what I personally think is like their favorite book, or like a book that they really like, or just a book that I kind of associate them with a little bit, or like there's mind waves that, you know. This is also based off of books that I have read, because I can't really speak for the ones that I haven't. Like, even if I've read the synopsis, that's what I, okay. Even if I've read the synopsis, I still don't, like, fully know the book, and so I tried to go only with books that I have read before. So yeah. I have my trusty I was gonna say my trusty dusty sheet of paper, like handy dandy notebook, but that just didn't work. Yeah, I have it all written down because I can't keep stuff straight. I will have the link to where I got some of the information was just from what I know, I guess. But like to double check facts or something like that, or the descriptions, I will link the website down below on the Greek gods. Zeus, the king of the gods, god of thunder, lightning, air, sky stuff, you know, being an ass. So the book that I chose is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I hate with this edition that you can't see like the title, like, I know this is shiny, but like you can barely see the title on that. This has to do with like lightning powers, you know? So I just feel like it kind of works, and I feel like he's sort of narcissistic enough that he'd be like, "Ayy." Next up is Poseidon, god of the sea, earthquakes, storms, and horses. I chose Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Yeah, this is a different belief system, but I feel like he could relate a little bit, because Thor and Zeus, they're not like, they both have like lightning stuff, you know? Other than that, I don't think they're that similar, honestly. I don't know. I have to read up more on like both sides to figure that out. Thor has a brother Loki who's kind of just like ignored a little bit, and he's all mischievous and stuff. Loki and Poseidon are not equals. They're not like similar at all, but I feel like Poseidon would really enjoy reading a little bit about the sort of sibling rivalry that happens in here, and I think he'd just like laugh at it. Like, there's some really funny moments in this book, and I think you'd honestly just like enjoy it and have a chill time with it. Next up is Aries, the god of war, and particularly like the physical and untamed aspect of war. I think reading a book about war would personally bore Aries a little bit, because he deals with war all the time. I'm not saying that he doesn't like enjoy it and he doesn't find it like thrilling, but I feel like he needs to get away sometimes. Like, I don't think all of the gods need to dive deep into what they are, you know? He's also a very physical guy, so I feel like he would enjoy comics because you get that like visual aspect of just like being able to see the movements, sort of. And so I chose Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. He's in love with Aphrodite too, and so I think he would kind of just like reading about what she does in a way, and like this love story. I think he'd kind of gush over it and be like, oh my god, look at my girlfriend go, like making these two fall in love and stuff. Like, I don't know, I feel like he would just enjoy it and kind of like find it relaxing, because it's not as intense, and it does deal with some heavy topics still, but it's like, it's not war, and it's something that Aries can kind of just like ease into, I guess. The next one is Apollo, who's the god of like music, poetry, art, oracles, medicine, the plague, sun, light, that kind of stuff. I feel like Apollo's a little bit known for being kind of vain and just like really into himself. And so I chose the picture of Dorian Gray because I feel like in the beginning he would vibe with Dorian. He would be like, oh my god, I'm also beautiful. We match. And he'd like understand like all of the loving looks that Dorian gets. Like, he'd feel it the same sort of way. I feel like he'd also love Basil. He'd like freaking love Basil. And just because it's like an adoring fan sort of character. But I think he would also just be like, oh my god, the sweetheart. And then when things go south, Apollo would be like, Dorian, how could you? And kind of just, maybe he would like self-reflect, like maybe I shouldn't be so narcissistic. But also he's a god, so he's not gonna age anyway, so like, I don't know. Don't smite me or anything, please. I'd really appreciate that. Next up is Hephaestus, who's the god of fire, metalworking, and sculpture. I think a lot of people, and even the gods like that are also on Mount Olympus, kind of just write off Hephaestus as like this big oaf who's like, I do metalworking. Yeah, like, I feel like they don't really give him the time of day. But I think Hephaestus is like a lot more heady. And he's like really, I don't know, self-reflective. So I could 100% see him reading Crime and Punishment, because I think he'd also really relate to, he would relate to Raskolnikov. No, I mean like, so Raskolnikov has like this god complex thing. I can't even remember what it's like actually called. There's like some name for it when I studied it in school or something. Raskolnikov has like this god complex, and he thinks he's like better than everyone else sort of, and he's got issues. And I feel like Hephaestus would be like, hey, I know some people like that. They live here. Yeah, so I think he'd kind of enjoy reading this, but I could also totally see Hephaestus just like audiobooking this while like forging weapons or something. Like, he just, I don't know, the dude just seems like really chill, and he'd be like, yeah, I read Dostoevsky. What about it? Next up is Hermes, god of trade, travelers, thieves, athletes, and messenger of the gods. I feel like he would actually really enjoy A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. It's such a like whimsical sort of story, and there's like, you know, it's a Shakespeare play, so like there's deception, there's misconceptions. Those are kind of the same thing? I don't know. And you know, it's honestly just kind of wacky. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I think he'd really enjoy it, and I think he'd kind of vibe with like, what's his name? Puck, or the Hobgoblin. He has like 3 different names. Next up is Dionysius, god of grape harvest, wine, religious ecstasy, and theater. So for this one I chose Pride by E.B. Zaboy. I know Apollo is the god of poetry, but that doesn't mean that other gods don't enjoy it as well, and I feel like Dionysius would just like really chill with it. Like there's not like a ton of poetry in Pride, but there's a good amount. It's been a while since I've read it, but I feel like it was kind of a important aspect of the book, and I think he'd like that it's like a reimagining of Pride and Prejudice. I feel like he probably really enjoyed Pride and Prejudice, just like okay, some of these it's just like a feeling, I don't really know how to explain it, but I think he just liked Pride and Prejudice for some reason. And I think once he saw that there was like a reimagining of it, although I'm pretty sure there have been some before it, but like this one was really good, I think he'd read it and be like, this is my shit. And the poetry that's in this book is like slam poetry, so it's based off of performance, and he's the god of like theater and stuff, and so I feel like he just really liked that sort of dramatic and like intense emotional aspect of it. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. Next up is Hades, god of the dead, riches, and king of the underworld. Can you tell he's my favorite? So the book I chose for him is The Graveyard Book. Am I projecting like kind of my favorite book onto my favorite god? Maybe. However, I think it fits. So this book talks about death, and it has ghosts, but it's not all in a scary way. Like, there are some topics of death where you're like, oh, that's kind of scary and that's not good. But with the ghost, the conversation about death I think is just really like chill and like mature and calming in a way, because death freaks me out. But after reading this book, I mean, it still freaks me out, but I just felt some like sort of closure with it, like just a little bit more calm about the whole ordeal. And I feel like Hades would just kind of enjoy it. Like, he'd see like these ghosts in a graveyard, and he'd see Bod, who is just like living his life. Overall, even though this book is like set for the most part in a graveyard and it focuses a bit on death, it's a pretty like nice and like happy book, I think. Yeah. I think Hades would just really enjoy it, and it's, yeah. The next god is Aleister, and he is the god of family feuds and avenger of evil deeds. And like, what book fits better than Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte? Bronte? I don't even know. Honestly, I get so confused at this point. Anyways, there's the two like opposing households, the well, there's the Wuthering Heights, and then the thrush, oh, what? There's the 2 different houses, and then there's the 2 different families inside that, and I can't even remember their last names now. Catherine something, I don't know. Either way, there's a lot of family drama. There's a lot of like connections in this like sticky web of lies and scariness and weirdness and stuff. So I think you'd enjoy it. Okay, so my battery died, so it might be shifted a little bit. Anyways, the next one is Eros, who is the god of sexual desire, attraction, love, stuff. So for him, I chose The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book has to deal with some Greek mythology in itself, but it's the story of Achilles and Patroclus, and it's told from Patroclus' point of view, and it's just like a really sweet love story, and it's so sad, and it's tragic, and I feel like Eros would read this and cry, and I think, you know, it must be hard to be a god, like, who's, like, really invested in the lives of other humans, like Eros, like, wanting to make this match and wanting to have them fall in love or something like that, or same with Aphrodite, and then, like, they die, and he's like, they're dead, because they don't live as long as him. That's gotta be kind of depressing to watch. Next up is Pan, the god of nature, the wild, shepherds, and often associated with sexuality, and also, like, a satyr in most depictions, I think. So for him, I was also kind of thinking about, like, A Midsummer Night's Dream just kind of fits that vibe, you know? I'd already used that, and I liked it for Hermes already, so I went with Loveless by Alice Oseman, and I think this also works. This book talks a lot about Shakespeare. It's each of Alice Oseman's books follow like a certain sort of, I don't know, passion or something. Like this one, it's sort of Shakespeare based. In Radio Silence, it's the podcast. In I Was Born for This, it's the band, and in Solitaire, they kind of talk about Pride and Prejudice, I think. Just like books or something. I don't know. Anyways, the Shakespeare aspect, I think it's kind of fun seeing all of Shakespeare in one thing, and it's not like reading all of Shakespeare's plays at once. It's just like little bits and little scenes, and you're like, ooh. And then also with Pan being the god of like sexuality, I think Georgia is the main character in this book, and she's figuring out her sexuality, and she's kind of struggling to come to terms with it. And it's a big part of the story, and I feel like Pan would be like, hell yeah, do what you need to do. I love you. Everyone loves you. Love. You're not loveless. You're love. That was so cheesy, but it needed to be said. And finally, we have Prometheus, who I think is most of the time considered a titan, but we're just gonna go with him as a god right now because I feel like it. He is the god of forethought, of crafty counsel, and he made mankind. I always kind of like felt for Prometheus. I think it was just that like the story of him getting his liver, or was it like pancreas or something, I don't know, eaten out every day, that just kind of was like a little bit traumatizing, you know? And I really felt for him, like that can't be fun, you know? I really doubt it. The book I chose for him was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I think you just kind of enjoy watching his humans do their thing. And like each of them, like they're all human, you know, ish. No spoilers. But there's a lot of magical aspects to this book and sort of like mystical, mythology based sort of things, or like not mythology, like legend, sort of. And I think he'd kind of enjoy that. He'd enjoy, like, them doing their thing. I don't really know how to say what I'm trying to say, but that's what I said. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any, like, counter arguments or something, or, like, you think there's a book that fits better, or if there's a god that I left out, let me know. And, like, put what you think would work best for them. If you want to see the goddess counterpart to this video, please leave a like down below and let me know. I already have it sort of planned out, I think, But if there's like a goddess in particular that you really want me to do, I can try and fit that in. And if you have any like other suggestions for gods that I left out, or if you think there's like a book that fits better that you've read, because I haven't read like a huge amount of books, so I only had so much to choose from. But yeah, just let me know, and I will see you guys next time.